I, 23F, am starting my second year teaching in a dangerous high school, AMA. Why did you choose to teach there? I didn't really choose, to be honest. In my country you rank 30 schools you wish to teach at and then you get assigned to one. I probably would have still went to one dangerous school though, because it helps your career more than teaching in suburban schools, and I was myself a student in a school with bad reputation, so I want to make sure they get a better experience with teachers than I did. Is it hard to care about the kids when they treat you awful? So hard sometimes you just want to break down because it's exhausting to try to help someone who doesn't want to be helped, but there are enough good moments to make it worth it. How do you reach these kids? Ha ha ha. Are the kids there really that bad? No, they can be really annoying and exhausting and they will test your limits, but they are also still kids, and if you can reach them they are wonderful. Not all of them want to be reached though, so that sucks. She's live in France, so the kids are gonna pull out a baguette and start beating teachers. Nah, in all seriousness though, be careful man. I will just steal the baguette and eat it with my camembert, thanks though. Hey, I've seen this one before. How's the basketball team / dance squad coming along? LMAO, please stop telling me this. I really want my life to be one of this movie, and I'm this close to going back to school singing, hoping it will turn into a musical. The students would never stop making fun of me and I'd have to quit. Are you at a school in a disadvantaged neighborhood? Yes, it's in one of the worst neighborhood in Paris. How was the first year? Rough, but weirdly it had more to do about my lack of experience and planning than the students, although it was very scary. Even if my students were nice to me, if not a bit of dickheads, the rest of the students were rowdy, for a lack of better word. What is the most bizarre thing that happened to you there? I had to stop a Rottweiler that someone snuck in. It was biting students and I felt like fucking Schwarzenegger possessed me because I stopped it without getting hurt and without even thinking, just pure instinct. It apparently wasn't that dramatic, but I felt like a badass doing it. What's your survival strategy? Trying to be friends with the bullies or avoiding them completely? Or maybe something different? I wouldn't say friends, but I do try to get along with them. As stated in another reply, I write notes to their parents but to congratulate them when they behave and are involved during class. They don't often get to be congratulated in school, so they're cool after. Although it doesn't work for everyone and some will still be assholes. I haven't seen any bully though. It's hard when you only see them twice a week and they are not in the same class in other subjects, so they don't really know each other, so no one is bullied. I don't know how I'd react if someone was getting bullied in my class though, because I wouldn't want to make it worse, so I guess I'd figure it out depending on the context. What is the scariest thing you have seen? Someone snuck in a taser and used it on a student and the student almost died. I must have been teaching there for like 3 months and I hid in a vacant classroom to cry for an hour afterwards. Do you keep a weapon with you? Nope, although I do have pepper spray in my bag, but I do not always use this bag and tend to forget to keep the pepper spray with me. Is nice to hear. Is not a troubled teen industry in the US, those are awful torture places. Do the students have access to mental counseling in your school? LOL, young gang members aren't interested in mental health counseling. Do you get flirted with all the time from the boys? Not all the time, but it does happen. It's still cute and non-aggressive though, so I'm fine with it, and it became a joke, as long as it doesn't evolve into slut-shaming or sexism/harassment. Why do you think the students are considered dangerous? Because some of them sneak in knives or tasers and beat each other bloody or destroy property. Although to be fair, and like I stated before, they were dealt a bad hand. They're stuck in an underprivileged area where they see violence every day, etc. So of course they'd have issues. Most of them are good kids though, they've just been abused by life. I saw you teach in France. So I'm guessing you are an English teacher, because of you can actually write English. My question, could you teach your students to speak understandable English so I can make sense of what they're saying while completing a GTA heist on my PS4? Please. LMAO, I will try. I often use video games to make them realize they know more English words than they think, but I see why you'd have problems understanding them. Imagine having to listen to them all week long though. Have you seen a fight or any sort of violence in the school? Many. Yes, the first one traumatized me and I had to hide and cry for an hour. After that it gets sort of better. It only happens like once a week I'd say, and I only see one every 2 months. I went to a dangerous high school as well. Hey, if you had any things you wish to say to a teacher, now's your time to shine. This kinda reminds me of Assassination Classroom. Must be scary, right? LMAO, I wish I was as good as a teacher as Koro sensei. Seriously, it is scary, but one should not forget that they are still kids/teenagers under all their aggers. Zion. TF does dangerous high school mean? An high school in an underprivileged area where students fight a lot and also sometimes assault teachers, I guess. Is it like La Haine? But not in the 90s, of course. Yes, it was said in another reply, but this movie is not only really good but really realistic too. That's what I mean when I keep repeating it might be scary, but they are still teenagers and should be treated as such before being treated as criminals, because God knows they are already treated like criminals enough outside of my classroom. Let me guess, Milford de High School. Aha, no, it's in France near Paris. One of my teachers used to teach at a dangerous school in LA. He said that it was just best job he got fresh into the market. He was a pretty good teacher and he had a couple interesting stories. Yes, all the other teachers are really there for each other. The students can be so cool once you connect with them, and you can try new things that you couldn't try in other schools. Honestly, it has many advantages if you ignore the obvious drawbacks. Excuse me while I turn down Coolio's Gangsta's Paradise. For some reason it's stuck in my head. LMAO, yes, apparently lots of people thought of this. No pics, it didn't happen. Seriously, what pics do you want me to send you? A pic of me with blurred face in front of my students with blurred faces and everything that could help link it to my actual school blurred? I don't want my students or colleagues to find this thread and be able to tell it was me for obvious reasons. Have you ever seen the movie Freedom Writers? Yes, and I love this movie, but it is also the kind of movie I was thinking of when I said that even when you can help a student, you don't tend to have that much of an impact on your class, and you can't be liked by everyone and save them all. When you first joined the school, were you aware of what it was like? If yes, why did you choose to join? Yes, and I didn't really choose. I was affected near Paris, in an underprivileged area, so I decided to choose one of the most dangerous schools because I went there as a student and wanted them to have less horrible teachers than I did. Also, there's the whole point system in France where you get points for each year you're teaching, and if you teach in a really unsafe school you get more points. Statistically speaking, you will be safe if you don't have pre-existing condition. I wasn't thinking of COVID, but now that I did, I guess teaching there with the whole COVID thing will be a nightmare. What's it like teaching as a new teacher there? Most of the teachers are young because as you get older you get more chances to go teach in more pleasant areas like near the beach or in the countryside, so they tend to leave, so we're all pretty young. I'd say the average is 27 years old, so we all remember how it was to start, and everyone is very nice because we know the students won't be, so we will need all the kindness we can find. And students are fine. They will try to test your limits, but to be fair, they're dicks to every teacher regardless of their age. Since you meant only that you are female, do you have students catcall you or flirt with you during lectures? Some do flirt, but more in a joking way. At the beginning of the year a colleague told me one student catcalled her and she called his mother and sisters and they didn't like it, so when I started I told them I knew about my colleague's way of handling catcalling and I would do the same, so they are pretty okay. 1. Do you have a way of defending yourself? Like pepper spray or self-defense training? 2. What's the craziest/most violent thing that's happened? I do have pepper spray on me, but it's mostly because my brother is paranoid I can defend myself because I did a few years of self-defense, but it's unrelated. A student used a taser on another student and he almost died. I had been teaching there for less than a semester. How many times did you watch the film Stand and Deliver in preparation for your first day on the job? But seriously, that's awesome. You are a teacher, and even cooler, you have achieved being a teacher at the age of 23, that is awesome. Cheers. LMAO, I never did, but I've been told to forget all those types of movies because they give you false expectations, and it's true, like you can come in with all your good intentions and some students will still be dicks because life is not a movie, mostly though they're nice kids who appreciate when you make an effort to talk to them, so I still secretly watch those movies and sometimes I get tips from them. Thanks. In France you could technically be a teacher at 21, I guess, high school diploma at 17 and then 5 years of studying. So 23 is actually the norm for new teachers, but still thanks man. What's the most disgusting / despicable event you've witnessed, if it really were as bad as you say? I've already talked about the taser incident where one student almost got killed. I'd say it could be the tentatives of rape. I've never heard of someone actually succeeding in raping someone, but this is still chilling. Of course the fights are almost the usual, once a week I'd say. So I think it is this time 5 boys started beating one up because they had beef with his older brother. Kid was innocent and a good kid. I'm not going to delve into what happens at home for some students because this is really despicable. Legally, would you be able to defend yourself, or would you have to just take any abuse or beatings? Hope you stay safe. I can defend myself but not injure a student. It's a bit more complicated, and even I am not sure. I'm mostly hoping it won't come to this. In your first year, how many students tried to hit on you? A lot, but as I said before, a colleague called the mother and sisters of a student who got really perv with her, and the student got chewed out and nobody bothered her anymore. So I told my students that I quite liked this approach and would do the same, so they did try to hit on me, but more in a joking way than in a disrespectful way. Favorite student? As a teacher we don't have any favorite student. I'm kidding, I had a lot. Of course the ones who were really involved in class, but also the troublemakers who ended up liking me, so they weren't that annoying in my class but they'd still be disruptive, so I'd still have to punish them even though I just wanted to high-five them. Quit. Why aren't you doing online tutoring at home? My wife has no degree but is really good at math. She does online tutoring at $50/hour and never has to worry about leaving her bedroom. No, I like teaching there. I know I can't change their lives, but I like to think that I can make an impact on some people's lives. Also, it can be really fun in the classroom. They're still kids and they can be a lot of fun if you interest them. I like watching them have a debate because they get really into it and end up using their notebook or else as fake wigs, and everything gets increasingly dramatic. I wouldn't trade that for online tutoring. Also, I'd never find work for $50/h, haha, but thanks. Still. Do guys look at you? Sorry to be weird, I know when teachers are young and female that happens. Yeah, it happens a lot. But as I said before, a colleague got catcalled, and so she called the mother and sisters of a student who got really pervy with her, and the student got chewed out by all the women in his family and nobody bothered her anymore. So I told my students that I quite liked this approach and would do the same. They're more calm this way. They still compliment me or stuff, but it's more in a joking way, so I let it slide. What are some bad experiences you've had / other teachers have had? One student was listening to music with her earphones, so I asked her to stop and she took off her headphones and started playing music on her speaker. I kind of blanked out on what to do and ended up expelling her for the hour, and she threw a table. So that was fun. Favorite music band? French rapper Gradder LMAO. Have your students ever physically attacked you? Nope, the closest they got was throwing a table in my class, but it wasn't at me. They mostly fight each other. It's rare when they attack a teacher. Have you reached the kids by teaching them hip hop dance yet? LMAO, stop suggesting this. You have no idea how much I want it to happen. I want my life to become this cliché movie where I end up saving kids by teaching them how to rap or dance. How similar is it to movie Dangerous Schools? Like, is there really kids smoking and selling drugs out in the open? Is the school all broken and spray painted? Or is it just like a normal school with students who act different? They are smoking and selling drugs, but not in the open. It's mostly in front of the school, or I guess in some hidden part of school I don't know about, or it wouldn't be hidden very well. The school is old and there's some graffitis in the toilets, but it's not that different from a normal school. I recommend you, great teacher Onizuka. I know I've already read it. I love it so much and only wish to be the school. Do you ever pretend you're Michelle Pfeiffer in Dangerous Minds? LMAO, never her specifically, but I do think of these kind of movies quite a lot. I try not to because I will never end up changing everyone's lives for the better, but it's good to dream. Every time you go there, are you scared? Not really, things can get violent and ugly, but I've never been in the middle of it. It's mostly just kids being little shits and exhausting, but most of them are good kids and I like thinking that I actually make a difference in their lives, so I'm exhausted, but it's also really gratifying. Are you French and studied English, or did you grow up in an English-speaking country and that's how you like English? I'm French and studied English. My childhood best friend came back from Canada one year and spoke English fluently, and I pretended I could understand her, and then one day after months of pretending I realized I actually could. Do you turn the chair around and sit in it backwards facing them when in a rap session with your kids? Ugh, I wish, but no, they don't do rap session. I do sit cross-legged on my desk when I'm not standing though. Do the kids still shout "World Star"? I'm in France, so I don't think they ever did. How do you plan to defend yourself? Also good luck. I don't. I haven't had the need to. I know how to restrain people and I don't plan on having to fight anyone. It's mostly just the emotional strain that's taking its toll on me. Where's your proof? I could provide one for you, but you sound like a dick, and also I don't want any student/colleague to get back to me. Dangerous High School. So Hope's Peak High? No one has killed another student yet, so if it is Hope's Peak High, it's a really slow year. I actually really want to start teaching in urban schools after I get my degree. What advice would you like to have heard before starting last year? Holy shit, there's so much I would have liked to know, and I think it really depends on where you teach and who you teach. It sounds really cliche, but honestly, just be yourself. I've been told that I shouldn't be too friendly with my students because otherwise they won't respect me, but I also like memes and rap music and anime and joking, so I was pretty chill and at least I was true to myself, and the students can feel it. That doesn't mean that you should let them do whatever they want. If you say that you will punish someone, you have to, even if they're really convincing or anything. Also, something I discovered worked wonders was not actually punishing them but rather reward them. I don't know how it is in your country, but I can write notes to parents and most of the time it is to say that the student is undisciplined or something, but I only write notes to congratulate a student that was calm, nice and interested during class, and you can see that they are not used to it because when they come back to class they are so proud and they usually turn into amazing students because they want to keep making their parents or themselves proud. Sadly, there's no perfect advice, so I'd just say don't be afraid, be true to yourself, listen to them, don't treat them like criminals, bond with them. And mostly you can't win every time. Some students will never like you, and that's okay. Also, even if it gets really tense in your class, 90% of the time at least one of your student will defend you before it gets physical. Are there any self-defense restrictions you have when it comes to a situation in which you are attacked/your life is threatened? You can defend yourself. You cannot injure a student, but the lines are really blurred, so it's really vague. School administrators are behind us if we do injure a student that attacked us, but then it depends on what version the student will give and also what happens if the media gets wind of the case and all that, so I'm just hoping to not get attacked or to be able to restrict them before it gets ugly. Is this a school where you have a gun on you in case some student goes crazy and tries to kill you or others? LMAO, no, because it's in France, but we do check if our students have knives or tasers on them, and they do sometimes. Have you got self-defense tactics ready? I know how to defend myself, but it's unrelated to my job/school. Honestly, they mostly fight between students, so I'm just hoping that no one will try to fight me. Oh France. You will be fine. Thought you might be here in Cal. Have you ever been in underprivileged areas in France? Because it sounds like you just want to be the tougher guy here. I stated in my other replies that it's not that dangerous since they're just kids and they have a lot of pent-up anger, but they are not animals. But also, please don't dismiss everyone's experience because you think they can't compare to yours. Do you still enjoy teaching? It depends on the day, but mostly it is tiring, but when you help students it makes it all worth it. Also, they can be really fun. What school is it? If you don't a Euro trademark T mind answering. I'd rather not say because you never know, but it's near La Courneuve in Paris. Erasmus High School in Flatbush, Brooklyn? Nope, high school in Saint Denis near Paris, smiley face. Let me guess. They're all black kids. Fuck off. Once again, there's enough racism in real life every day to see it there too. Please learn some self-defense if you don't know any. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai/kickboxing, or boxing and wrestling. Please. You absolutely must. I can defend myself, but I don't wanna fight my students, and also legally speaking it's dangerous to injure them, so I mostly know how to restrict people, and I'm praying that it will be enough because the students are not animals and they don't attack everyone, and it's even rarer when they attack a teacher. Thanks for watching. If you could like, subscribe and comment best Reddit stories for more Reddit videos.